Jai Bajajana Jamuna Tira Banachari Joy Kunja Vihari Joy Kunda Vihari Joy Jamuna Tira Banachari Joy Kunja Vihari Jai Kunda Vihari Prabhupada Joy Prabhupada Prabhupada Joy Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Vishnu Paramhamsa Paribrajaka Acharya Ashtatara Saraswamachala Abhacharana Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki ISKCON Pratishthata Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Kori Vaishnava Vrinda ki Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Shri Sinitai Gaur Shitanath Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Vandeyaham Shri Guru, Shri Jutapada Kamalam, Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha, Shri Rupam Shaguru Jatam, Shahagana Raganatam, Vitam Tangsha Jivam Sadvaitam, Shavadutam Parijana Shaitam, Krishna Chaitanya Devam, Sri Radha, Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Shivi Shakang Vitangscha, Mantra Guru Ajota Shikha Guru Ganta, Charane Age Koriya Bandhan, Panchakalpa Trubhyashta Kripa Shandabeva Poditanam Pavaneva Vaishnava Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shamati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaudavani Pacharne Nirvishesha Shannavari Pashtatta Desha Tarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shiva Shari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Krishna Swadam Upagate Dharma Jnana Divi Shaha Kalonashta Drisham Esha Puranag Adonoditaha Maitreya uvāca śrutvā bhāgavatam pautram amodata ditir bhṛśam putrayoś vadhaṁ kṛṣṇād viditvāsīn mahā-manāḥ Maitreya uvāca śrutvā bhāgavatam pautram amodata ditir bhṛśam putrayoś vadhaṁ kṛṣṇād viditvāsīn mahā-manāḥ. Please chant. Matri Mandoli. Maitreya uvāca. The sage Maitreya said, śrutvā, by hearing, bhāgavatam, to be a great devotee of the Lord. Pautram, grandson. Amodata, took pleasure. Diti, bhṛśam, very greatly. Putrayoḥ, of 2 sons. Cha, also. Vadhaṁ, the killing. Kṛṣṇāt, by Krishna. Viditvā, knowing this, āsīt, became mahā-manāḥ, highly pleased in mind. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. The sage Maitreya said, hearing that her grandson would be a great devotee and that her sons would be killed by Krishna, Diti was highly pleased in mind. Purport. Diti was very aggrieved to learn that because of her untimely pregnancy, her sons would be demons and would fight with the Lord. But when she heard that her grandsons would be a great devotee, her grandson would be a great devotee, and that her 2 sons would be killed by the Lord, she was very satisfied. As the wife of a great sage and the daughter of a great Prajapati, Daksha, she knew that being killed by the Personality of Godhead is a great fortune. Since the Lord is absolute, His acts of violence and non-violence are both on the absolute platform. There is no difference in such acts of the Lord. Mundane violence and non-violence have nothing to do with the Lord's acts. A demon killed by Him attains the same result as one who attains liberation after many, many births of penance and austerity. The word bhṛśam is significant herein because it indicates that Diti was pleased beyond her expectations. Thus ends Bhaktivedanta Purport to 3rd Canto, 14th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Pregnancy of Diti in the Evening. Mukam karti bhachalam pangam langai te girim jakripatam aham bande Shri Gurum dinatarinam. We've finished the chapter on the pregnancy of Diti in the evening. This chapter is very instructive, particularly for grihastas. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 10 topics described. Atra sharga vishargascha stanam poshanam utaya manvantaram isha anukata nirodha mukti asraya. The 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam, of which, in which we see that here is being described the bisarga. Sharga and bisharga. Sharga means the original creation, primary creation, where the mahā-tattva, pradhan, modes of material nature are all manifest. And the Purusha avatars, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, this is Sarga. And in Bisarga, secondary creation, this is what Lord Brahma does each day. That's called Bisarga, a secondary creation. So the 14 planetary systems and the progenation of the species is all done by Lord Brahma. So here we're discussing the progeny, the Diti. She's the daughter of Prajapati Daksha. So Prajapati, he's one of the principal progenitors of creating species. Prajapati, he had thousands of sons and thousands of daughters. Prajapati Daksha. In fact, he's expert in creating children. Expert, Daksha. He's a son of Lord Brahma, one of the sons of Lord Brahma. And so we're right at the beginning of the creation here. We're right at the beginning of the creation. Lord Swayambhu, Lord Brahma, he has no father and mother. He appears from the navel of Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, and then he begins to create. He creates Manu and Satarupa. And then from Manu, Daksha, and in this way Daksha begins to further populate. And so here his daughters. And now, actually the primordial demons are described here. The first demons in the universe. The first demons. They're described. Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Now, why are they described? Well, why is this? Why the creation is described, and the subcreation is described? Isha Anukata. Also, this is dealing with the activities of the Lord, the pastimes of the Lord. Actually, Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken. Was that at Krishna Swadam Upagate? Krishna Swadam Upagate. He's returned to when Krishna had returned to his own abode. Swadam Upagate. Dharma Jnana Adibi Shaha. With knowledge and religiousness. Dharma Jnana Adibi, etc. Saha. Along with. He's returned along with. Kalo. In the Kali Yuga, Krishna has departed. It's very unfortunate. He was on the planet, and now he departed. And so Kalo, beginning Kali Yuga, Kalo, nashtadrisham esha, those whose drishti, whose vision is nashta, is destroyed by the influence of Kali Yuga. Kalo nashtadrisham esha, puranako, will get light from this Purana, which is Arko, Puranako. Arko is the name of the sun. If you do Surya Namaskar, one of the mantras is to Arka, the sun god. So Puranako is just like as brilliant as the sun. Prabhupada translates. Adun uditaha, which is just arisen. So Srimad Bhagavatam, actually Prabhupada comments in that purport that by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, one gains all the benefits of direct association with the Lord directly. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Sanghitam. It is the literary incarnation. And the sages, they were assembled there in Naimisharanya. Actually, we visited Naimisharanya during Navadip Mondo Parikrama. Because all of the tirthas, all of the holy places, they're all manifest in Navadip Dham. This is the special mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sharva Tirtha Brahmaya Taitika Chahapai. Sharva Tirtha Brahmaya. One who goes to all of the holy places, Sarva Tirtha Brahmaya Taitika, the pilgrim, Chahapai, what he gets, Navadip Sharane, Shailab Shastragai. Navadip Sharane, just by remembering Navadip Dham. One gets the benefit of visiting all the holy places. All the holy places are manifest in Navadip Dham. So we visited Naimisharanya, and the sages, they are assembled there for the benefit of humanity, at performing a sacrifice for the benefit of humanity, or at the beginning of Kali Yuga. And then Sutta Goswami, who they recognized his qualification because he had heard from Shukdev Goswami, Sutta Goswami. And so they inquired from him, Buddhi Buni Nikarmani Shrotavyani Vibhagashaha. There are so many regulative injunctions. Buddhi Nikarmani, so many injunctions, so many instructions in the scripture. So many of them. Srotavyani, and they should be heard vibhagasaha, systematically. Vibhagasaha means in their respective divisions. It should all be understood, all studied. So this is a little difficult and complex, particularly in Kali Yuga. What is that? Prayati, how does that go? Prayena upayushaya shabda kalavashmin jugejana. They're very short-lived in Kali Yuga. So atashadu, please, holy man, atashadu, trayat sharam. You please select the essence, sharam, the cream, the cream. Parama Corona Bahuduijon, Nitai Gauda Chanda, Shab Avatar Shar, Shiromani, the cream of all avatars, Shab Avatar Shar, Shiromani, the jewel on the head, Kevala Anandakanda, Param Corona Bahuduijon, Nitai Gau Chandra. Whenever we find an opportunity to utter the names Nitai Gau Chandra, we take that opportunity. Because Thakur Bhaktivinoda, he explains that Gauranga Nitai Jar Bole Egbar. The one who says Gauranga Nitai Egbar one time, Ananta Karma Dosh Anta Hoita. All of their sins are destroyed. Gauranga Nitai. So Param Karna Bahuduijon, Nitai Gauchandra, Shab Avatar Shar. The cream, the essence of all avatars. Shiromani, the jewel on the head, Kevala Anandakanda. So the sages are requesting that Ata Shadu Trayat Sharam. Please select the essence, the cream of all of these different injunctions in the Vedas, in the Upanishads, Vedanta Sutta, Itihash. Very expansive. So, atā shadu trayat sharam. Please select the essence. Bruhi, you tell us, and you speak it, Bruhi bhadraya bhutanam, which will be completely auspicious, bhadraya bhutanam, for all living entities. Prabhupada's commenting that this is the consciousness of the sages, that they're interested in bhadraya bhutanam, the welfare of all activities, yenatma shuprashidati, by which they'll become fully satisfied. I mean, Srimad Bhagavatam is such a benediction upon humanity, that the most important questions are asked in the very beginning. That's first chapter. The most important questions, just consider the questions of the sages. That what is the essence of all scripture? Please explain it in such a way that all humanity will get auspiciousness and full satisfaction of the self. I mean, what a question. What does that indicate about their consciousness? How in touch, how in tune they were with the needs of society. Actually, Prabhupada, he begins the Srimad Bhagavatam. There's in his preface. Here we have present in this august assembly many learned scholars of the Bhagavat. So let me ask you, what is the opening sentence that Prabhupada begins in his preface of Srimad Bhagavatam? And it's in the same, of every volume, the same preface is there. What's the opening sentence? I'm sure you know. It's very important because it's the first thing that Prabhupada said when he began his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. The first thought that came to his mind. That's very significant. That's very significant. What's the first thing he writes? So maybe we can check on that. He writes that one should know the present need of human society. One should know the present need of human society. That's his opening statement. Wow. I mean, how much in alignment is Prabhupada with the consciousness of the sages in Naimisharanya? What is the essence of scripture? And please tell us that everyone will be benefited. Actually, Prabhupada, he's asking the question. Srimad Bhagavatam is the answer. Right? Srimad Bhagavatam is the answer. But Prabhupada is saying, first of all, what's the question that Srimad Bhagavatam answers? Well, this is the question. That this is the present need of human society. And what is it? Is to hear about Krishna and his pastimes. And these are the subjects of Srimad Bhagavatam, these 10 subjects that we mentioned. And they're all related to Krishna. And he goes on to explain in the second chapter, because this is in the environment of, you could say, the environment of Vedic culture. And therefore they're a little confused. Sometimes we hear that if you ask people about Hinduism, everyone has a different answer. Yeah. So this is the sages also, even Vedic culture can be very complex and very perplexing. The different systems, the different karmani, different prescribed activities. There's so many of them. When to do them, which are the important ones, which are not so important. It's very, so please explain it all in such a way that we can understand in the Kali Yuga when we're short-lived and we're not even very interested. We're cheated, manda sumanda matayo, we're all unintelligent. Sumanda matayo, very unintelligent. Sumanda, very unfortunate in the head. Sumanda, manda unfortunate. Sumanda matayo, their heads are all spoiled. Sumanda matayo, their brains are all spoiled. So this is the situation. So he comes straight to the point. He just says, śrutvā svakata Kṛṣṇā. He says, just hearing about Krishna. śrutvā svakata Kṛṣṇā, descriptions about Krishna. Punya śravana kirtana. That one line is one of the most very significant lines of the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam, oftentimes not emphasized so much in our classes, but punya śravana kirtanam. What does that mean? That means that by śravanam and kirtanam you get all the punya, which is everything in the Vedic system is actually to produce punya and ultimately prepare you for moksha. So punya, we have to get punya. And there's so many prescribed ways that can be done in the Vedic culture to acquire piety, to elevate oneself gradually through the varanas, and then gradually through the planetary systems, and then Brahmaloka. This is all the result of punya. Udvam gachanti sattvasto. Gita, 15th chapter, 14th chapter. Those situated in the life of religiousness and duty in sattva-gun, udvam gachanti, they go up. Udvam gachanti sattvasto. Jagana, what is that? Adho gachanti tamasaha. Adho gachanti tamasaha. And those in ignorance, they go down. So this is so many to gradually elevate us. And he says in one line, punya shravana kirtanam. By shravana kirtanam, you get all the benefits of all of those different prescribed activities and regulative principles. You get just by hearing and chanting. All we're doing today, it's so easy. Susukam kartum. Susukam kartum. So easy to perform. As I think it was the great Shakespearean character Brutus said, oh, lend me your ears. Lend me your ears. It's Shakespearean. Prabhupada would sometimes quote Shakespeare. Lend me your ears. Lend me your ears. That's all we have to do. Just have to hear. When Gosundar, he went to East Bengal. He was Grihastha. And he had many followers. In fact, he had study guides which had made it all the way to East Bengal. On the Vyakaran and the other subjects, Nyaya Vyakaran, that Gosundar was Alanka Nyaya, Alanka Vyakaran, grammar, the poet, these things he was teaching. His commentaries had made it to East Bengal, and many people were studying. And they mentioned when he visited that we've read your commentaries, but we were not fortunate to come to Navadip. We couldn't arrange to travel and personally study with you in Navadip. They didn't have Zoom classes in those days. Some people had to come. Chartudik hoite lok, Navadipe jai, Navadip porile she, bidarash pai. From all directions the scholars were coming to Navadip. Chartudik hoite, from 4 directions, lok, Navadipe jai. Everyone was coming to Navadip. Why are they coming to Navadip? Navadip porile. If you study in Navadip, she bidarash pai, you get a taste for learning. Navadip was the place of scholarship. Navadip. And Gosundar, he was enjoying the Bidolila. Brajendra Nandana Jai Shachishuta Hoilo Shay. That the darling of the king of Braj, Brajendra Nandan Jai Shachishuta Hoilo Shay. He has appeared in the womb of Sachi Devi. Balarama Hoilo Nitai. Balarama Nityananda. So in Brajadham, they were cowherd boys. They were cowherd, Nityananda also. Gopa Jati Yami Bohut Gopa Gon Shonge. Nityananda in Panihati, he said, when they were having the picnic, he said, and Raghav Pandit said, come, I've cooked the rice, shak, shabji, torkari, everything. No, I want to eat the picnic with my cowherd boyfriends. Gopa Jati Yami, I'm a cowherd boy. Nityananda says, Gopa Jati Yami, Bahut Gopa Gon Shonge, Bahut Gopa Gon Shonge. And I've appeared with so many other cowherd boys. Amra Shukpaye Pulin Bojan Ronge. And we enjoy having picnic on the banks of the river. So they're just as they were playing like cowherd boys in Braj, of course it's Nitya Lila, they're always performing those pastimes. Brajajana Ranjan, giving pleasure to the residents of Braj. So the same people, when Gosundar appears in Navadip, they all appear in the homes of the Brahmins. Advaita Thakur, Shivash Thakur, Gadadhar Pandit. They're all Brahmins. And they're enjoying Mahaprabhu. And they're all Brahmins and they're in Navadip because this is the place of scholars. Sarva Navadipe Prati Nogode Noge. Sarva Navadipe Prati Nogode Nogode Bidda Shishyagon Shange Bidarash Krida Kode. Just like Gopal in Braj, he goes in the forest wandering with his associates, enjoying the flavors of Leela. So in Navadip, Sharva Navadipe Prati Nogore Nogore, all through Navadip, in every village, Prati Nogore Nogore, that's a town, in every center, in the Nogore Nogore, Shishigon Songe with his students, Bidarash Krida Kode. He's enjoying the flavors of learning. Enjoying the flavors of learning. And he's Navadip Chandra. He's the rising moon of Navadip, the Dvijamani. Dvijamani, he's the jewel of the Brahmins of Navadip. And everyone, even they don't know he's the Supreme Lord, still everyone is in love with him because of his scholarship. Sarva Navadipe, Sharva Lok Hoilo Dhoni, Nimai Pandit, Odapak Shiromani. All through Navadip, Sharva Lok Hoilo Dhoni. All you could hear from their lips, Nimai Pandit, Odapak Shiromani. Nimai Pandit is the crest jewel of all the professors. So in this way he was, he's enjoying his Vidyarash. So this chapter, we very, very instructive for us in the household duties and the consequences consequences of the discrepancies in the grihastha dharma can be consequences can be very enormous. A demon like Hiranyakashipu, who all of the demigods actually were falling at his feet and offering prayers. Even Narad Muni was obligated to show homage and praise to Hiranyakashipu. He was so powerful, he turned the seasons around. The hot season became the cool season. The cool season became the hot. He controlled the rain, the fire, everything. Such a powerful demon. What a menace to society. Everybody except Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Brahma became obligated and under the control of Hiranyakashipu. So what consequences for a moment's discrepancy? A moment of discrepancy, but wow, what vast consequences there were. What is that? That apana karama bunjaya shamana kohe lochana dash. Apan karama bunjaya shamana. Whatever you do, you have to accept the results. Shangshara majiye rohire poriye shepote nohilo asha. Having fallen into this world, shepote nohilo asha, no desire for taking shelter of their lotus feet. Apan karama bunjaye shamana kaha lochana dash. Apan karama, the activities that you perform, bunjaye shama, you have to endure the results. You have to accept the results. Kaha lochana das, Lochan Das Thakur sings. So instructive. Gosundar also, his grihastha lila, very instructive for us. Gosundar, his grihastha lila. Vrindavan Das Thakur explains that Grihasther Mahaprabhu Shikayan Dharma. In his Grihastha life, Mahaprabhu was teaching the standards of Grihastha life. Otiti Sheba Grihastha Mul Karma. Particularly the reception of guests. And he describes that the guests were coming to Satchiyangan, to the house of Jagannath Mishra. There was a constant flow of guests. Otiti. Nirabadi otiti aishe prabhur gore. Did you know that? Nirabadi, without cessation, people were coming to his room, to his home. Nirabadi otiti aishe prabhur gore jar jeno jogya prabhu den shabakare. And according to their adhikar, their position, he would give them things. He would give them things. He would give grains. He would give cloth. He would give cash. It's all described. By Vrindavan Das Thakur, Adikanda chapter 14, before Mahaprabhu goes to East Bengal, actually, which I was coming to. Yeah, the poor people also. The poor people came, not just the respectable aristocratic Brahmins and Mandalapati, the leaders of society. Also, the insignificant poor people came to Mahaprabhu's door. And there was no security, there were no barking dogs, there was no security there. They could come in. Dukhi there, dekile prabhu, boro doya kori. When Mahaprabhu would see poor people, boro doya kori, he would show great mercy upon them. Anna, bastra, katapadi, den, godahari. And he would give them grains, cloth, money, he would give in that way to the poor people that came. In fact, one time, he was very broad-minded as a whole, ideal householder. Ideal householder. This is the challenge with the householders. We become attached. This is my couch. And my couch. This is my table. This is everything mine, all set up. We don't like it disturbed. Otiti Seva here. Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying that by Mahaprabhu's activities, he's teaching that Otiti Sheba Grihastha Mul Karma, reception of guests, is the most important duty of householders. Reception of guests, he says. And receiving a guest is like worshipping spiritual master for a householder. Because that's a challenge, we become attached to these things. So we have to provide all of the facilities that we use for our daily comforts that have to be offered to the in service of the Lord, particularly to the mendicant Vaishnavas. When I was living in Bangladesh, I lived in Bangladesh many years, and we traveled village to village with Nitya Lila Parishta Shri Krishna Kirtan Das Brahmachari. And we would be hosted in the homes of the villages, and usually we would get the master bedroom, which had an ensuite. And I'm thinking, wow, this is great. You know, we get the master bedroom every time. Where do the household? They all sleep on the floor in the living room. They'll sleep on the floor. They give you the best facilities. They sleep on the floor. Actually, a lot of people don't do that. They give the guests whatever facility. They don't give up their own bedroom. But you'd be staying there, and everything would be just there the way they're living. You know, the ladies' things on the bench, on the table. This is the culture. Otiti Paraya, particularly in Bengal, particularly in East Bengal. Particularly in East Bengal. In the cities now, these things have become deteriorated, and people live in apartment buildings, and there's security, and you can't. But in the village, still, you can wander without restriction. There's no fence. Usually, there's no fences. You can't really see where one property finishes and the next begins. And people, oftentimes, you see unknown people just walking through your yard. As they're going some other place, they just walk through. It's a standard. No one complains about that. No one feels that's invasion of privacy. The different. Of course, the house is designed in such a way. There's the outer quarters, the balcony, veranda, and then there's inner quarters. So it's all everything nicely designed. So atiti seva, mul karma, the fundamental duty for the householders. Now, this is very interesting here, Aditi, because it's interesting her mix. She's obviously. She's an exalted personality. She's described in Srimad Bhagavatam. She's the wife of a great sage. And Prabhupada's mentioning all of these things in the purport, that she's the daughter of a great Prajapati Daksha. She's fully conversant in the spiritual principles. So therefore she was very pleased when she heard that her son will be killed by Lord Vishnu. It gave her great joy. That's a rare thing. So she's such a dharmic person. But still, such a qualified person who's one of the great mothers of humanity, but still she has this conditional consciousness about my sons, mamaka, my sons, my sons. And still this is, so it's interesting that there's a kind of this grey area where they're like an ordinary householder, but they're still described in the Bhagavatam. It's interesting. It's kind of like a, you know, where the spiritual reality touches the material plane, and it's kind of like a crossover. As people were on the planet and they saw the activities of the Lord, and they're just the people who were here. How fortunate they were. Like Mahaprabhu's, he's inviting guests. One time there were 20 sannyasis. He met on the street 20 sannyasis, and he invited them to come home for prasadam. How would you feel about that, ladies? Your husband invites 20 sannyasis without even telling you. How often do you see 20 sannyasis? Just understand, Navadip Shampati Ke Bone Bade Pari. Who can describe the opulence of Navadip Dham? Ke Bone Bade Pari. Ek Ganga Gate Lok Lok Shnan Kore. In one ghat, 100,000 people were bathing. And so many ghats. The opulence of Navadip. The 20 sannyasis wandering down the street. Even at festival time here, Gaurpanima festival, 20 sannyasis in one place, it's hard to see. Even you wouldn't see, one or two or three on occasion, but 20, one place. On the street they were, walking in Navadip. Just try to understand the aristocratic style of society in Navadip Dham, when Goshamdar appeared here. The opulence of Navadip Dham, 20 sannyasis. And he invited them home, and he sent a message to Sachi Devi, that 20 sannyasis are coming for lunch. And how Sachi Devi's response? Very interesting. Very interesting. Is that Ghore kichu nai oi chinte mone mone kuri sannyasi bikka hoibe kemone. Ghore kichu nai. I think every lady says that. There's nothing in the kitchen. Gore kitchenai. How we? Gore kitchenai. I chinte mone mone. She's in anxiety. She's kind of like, she's what's the word? Like almost traumatized. Almost. Gore kitchenai. I chinte mone mone. I chinte mone mone. She's thinking again and again. There's nothing to cook. What are we going to do? Kuri sannyasi bikka hoibe kamone. How we will feed 20 sannyasis? So that's very interesting. She's thinking she's an ordinary householder, mother, and her son is an ordinary pandit. She doesn't think he's the supreme God. If she was thinking he's the Supreme God, then there'd be no anxiety. 20 sannyasis says, nothing, my son's the Supreme Lord. But she forgets that. She forgets that. And she's in great anxiety. In fact, while she's in anxiety, someone comes and all of the ingredients are automatically. So why she's in complete anxiety? Why she forgets? Why she forgets he's God? That's interesting, that she forgets he's God. Because Kebol Shuddha Prem, Aishwarya na jane, Aishwarya deklayo nija shambandha shemane. In Rupshika, Goshunda, he's explaining the Braja Prem, the specific, as distinct from Vaikuntha Prem. In the Vaikuntha, there is the concept that Krishna, that Lord Narayan is God. That concept, Gokul Radhika, what's that? Puri Dvare Aishwarya Gyan, forget that one. Anyway, in Vaikuntha, a concept that the Supreme, that he's God. But in Kebol Shuddha Prem, in Vrindavan, Kebol Prem, those of you who have studied Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Kebol Prem, Aishwarya, Kebol Shuddha Prem, it's the Vrindavan Prem, Kebol Prem. And Aishwarya na jane, there's no concept that Krishna is God in Vrindavan. They don't love him because he's God. They don't care if he's God. Sometimes Aishwarya deklayo, sometimes he manifests some godliness, Aishwarya deklayo, sometimes he shows, like with Majasoda. He sits on the lap, she's checking. Balaram says that he ate dirt, and Krishna says that Balaram's making up a fabricated story. Well, then come here, open your mouth, sit on the lap. Opens his mouth, she sees Virat Rupa, Vishal. Virat Rupa, she sees everything, the universes, the creation, the planetary systems. She even sees Vrindavan, she sees Gokul, she sees her, and Krishna sitting on her lap. And momentarily, Jasoda, Devi, she thinks, why am I wasting my time in householder life? I should cultivate Atma Tattva. Momentarily, she's thinking philosophically, why am I wasting my life? I should cultivate Atma Tattva. Momentarily. And then, very quickly, she says, oh, you foolish woman, you have no time for cultivating Atma Tattva. You have to feed your baby. So, Aishwarya deklayo, even he shows his opulence, nija shambandha shemane. It doesn't overwhelm that nija shambandha, which means the intimate relationship. No, he's my child. He's not God, he's my child. Even sometimes he displays, even in a dream. A Brahmin, an effulgent Brahmin said to Jagannath Mishra, it's not appropriate that you correct your son. He's an ocean of knowledge. He doesn't require education from you. And in the dream, Jagannath Mishra responded. In the dream, Mishra kahe, in the dream, imagine dreams like that. In the dream, Jagannath Mishra responded, Mishra kahe, Deb shiti muni keni noi, jai she baro hok matro amar tanoi. Mishra kahe, he replies in the dream, Deb shiti muni. Yes, he may be a great Deba, demigod, or the supreme God. Deb shiti, he may be a perfect being. Muni, he may be a great rishi. And Kenyan, why not? Jai she baro hok. No matter how important he is, no matter who he is, matro amar tanai. But as far as I'm concerned, he's my son. And it's my responsibility to give him an education. So even he displays opulence. It doesn't shake their conviction that they have an intimate, he's a family member. How many people did Jasoda Devi tell about the Virat Rupa Prakash? How many people did she tell? Could you imagine that your son sits on your lap, he shows the universal form? You'll be telling everyone, you'll never stop telling people. You'll put on your Facebook page, it'll go viral. My son shows the visual universal. You'll never stop telling people. She doesn't tell anybody. She forgets about it. Because it's not very astonishing, because that's how deep the affectionate relationship is. Simply being his mother, that's far more pleasurable than understanding and recognizing him as the Supreme Lord. They're so absorbed in him. They're so in love with him. It's Kebol Shuddha Prem. So therefore, it's natural that they forget he's God. Because they want to reciprocate Jaijatamam Prapadyante Tangshtataiva Bhajamiham. This is the highest form of worship. Aradha Bhagavan Brajen Tanayo Tadama Brindavanam Ramnaka Chidu Prashana Brajababu Bhaganija Kalpita. The most worshipable Lord is the son and the king of Braj, Aradha Bhagavan, Brajendra Tanayo, Tat Dhamma Vrindavanam, his residence is Vrindavanam, Ramna Kachit Upasana, and what's the most pleasing type of worship? Ramna Kachit Upasana, Brajabadu, Bhagena Jacob, that which is offered by the household ladies of Vrindavan, the Vadu, means the housewives, Vadu, Brajabadu, the Vrindavan housewives. The service that they offer, that's the most pleasing type of service, where there's no conception that he's God, they're just in love with him. So in this way, Sachi Devi, she's the ideal mother, and she's acting like, and Goshen is enjoying, and they're together, they're enjoying. The Nitya Lila, this Lila is happening here in Navadip Dham. Gaudanged Gunete Jude Nitya Lila Taresh Bude. Narottam Thakur sings that Gaudanged Gunete Jude, Prabhupada translates that those who cry when they consider the qualities of Goshendur, Gaudanged Gunete Jude, those who cry, considering the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada, he came to Melbourne, Australia, he installed Sisi Gaunitai, he personally installed them, did Abhishek, he sat on Vyasasan, he said, the people of Melbourne have become fortunate because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared here. Gauranga Gunete Jude, those who cry, considering the mercy of Gauranga and his devotee, that they came to reclaim us. Otherwise we wouldn't be here today. But Prabhupada brought Gaurnitai to Melbourne and blessed the people of Melbourne. I'm from that place. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared here. So thus we become Gauranga Gunete Jude, those who have no qualification and not even interested. Patra apatra bicha nahe. No consideration of qualification or disqualification. Patra apatra bicha nahe. Jai jahapai tare kore prem don. Whoever they see, you're eligible for love of God by chanting the holy name. Gauranga Gunete Jude, when you consider the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Param Doyal, the most merciful, when you consider that, those who cry upon considering the qualities, Gauranga Gunete Jude, Nitya Lila Taresh Pure, they can see. Nitya Lila Taresh Pure, they can see the eternal pastimes of the Lord. So some thoughts on today's verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Any questions? Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, thank you for the class. You mentioned an important point, like in Grihastha Ashram you have to be very regulated and there can be discrepancy. So we should avoid the discrepancy. So sometimes we see that there is some discrepancy, it happens. Then after that, what we should do, like we are going to suffer the result of such discrepancy. So what do we do to, get back on track, or what is to be done?
Raja Vidya Rajaguyam Pavitram Idam Uttam. That the highest purificatory activity is performing Bhagavad Bhakti. You don't have to do any other things. Raja Vidya Rajaguyam Pavitram Idam Uttam. It is the topmost purifying process, is Bhagavad Bhakti. So you carry on with devotional service. Thank you very much. Kṛṣṇād Srimad Bhagavatam ki.